Hello, everybody. This is Howard, the Teaserking, coming to you with week one. Let me try to get the light out. Fortunately, I got a light right over my desk, so bear with me on that. That's better. Let's try this angle. Anyway, coming to you with week one of college football. It was a big week, but it was a break-even week. I went 8-2 on my picks. My problem was I lost Indiana, which was a lock, and I had it in two teasers. And then the second one was the Northwestern Michigan State game under, which I don't know where the offense came from. That surprised me, but I learned from it. So Northwestern obviously doesn't have that great defense from a year ago. Michigan State, I was right, has no quarterback, but somehow the running back went for 260. So I don't understand how Northwestern can fall off the table like that. It should be a system. Indiana, I was right about Penn, but he threw two pick sixes and threw him right out of the game. That's bad coaching, bad play calling, bad quarterbacking, throwing late passes. I hate when they throw the little outs and they get intercepted and it's a 3-yard gain. It's risk reward, doesn't make any sense. What did I take out of week one? Well, let's go through my winners. I had Boise on Friday, or was that Thursday night? Again, they're a live dog. UCF isn't as good as they've been. I had the under in the Army game. What else is new? 53 went down to 59. I think the spread went down to 49, but they played a 53. I was surprised the Army put up 43 points, but they held Georgia State to 10. So you're betting Army's great defense, plus you're betting that Army's running the ball somehow. They must have had a bunch of turnovers. Wisconsin, Penn State under. That was the easiest under on the board. And sometimes you wonder, why didn't I lock that game? I love Wisconsin's like an Army, great defense. They're running the ball. They don't have much of a quarterback. They had two turnovers inside the 10-yard line. One was a fumble. One was a missed field goal. But they're not an explosive team. Penn State showed a lot, and I'll be on them a lot. They got a good quarterback and obviously a good defense. So that's what you take out of the game. Florida State last night, they didn't play Mackenzie Milton, which, again, I said beware. They still covered. I had them at 9 up to 15. They covered very easily. They look good, then look bad, then look good. Notre Dame, not much defense. Quarterback from Wisconsin, I don't know. Unless it's Russell Wilson, I don't trust Wisconsin quarterbacks. And then Florida State, again, I really question the coach. The quarterback they had out there is not Mackenzie Milton. I guess we'll just have to bear with it until he figures out that Mackenzie Milton's the better quarterback. You don't sit Mackenzie Milton on the bench. That was extremely stupid, and why they lost. Indiana, Iowa, I told you about Indiana, 2 pick sixes. So when you get pick sixes, it's not like your defense is as bad. Indiana's a much better team, and Iowa is not as good. So I looked, I'm not jumping all over Iowa State this week. I think Iowa State's a better team. Marshall, I told you, I loved Marshall. They were going to be my lock, and then the coach changed, and you just had to watch it. So I played Marshall, but I didn't lock them, and they, of course, won 49-7. And of course, you're like, there you go. They got a good quarterback back. They got a good defense. Navy doesn't have much, so once you get up on Navy, all they're going to do is run the ball. So Marshall took it to him like I thought. So obviously, the new coach isn't screwing it up too badly. Miami, Alabama had over 55 or 56. The game went to 57. To Alabama, it just shows you that Tug Tagliabue and Jalen Hurts, and I'm not even sure Mac Jones, he's a little different, aren't really that good. It's the system, right? Here's a guy, his first start, he doesn't have any problem, So me and you could probably go out there and put up 30 points. Again, it's the process, it's the system. It's really not the quarterback. So the quarterback gets overvalued. But Alabama just keeps going over. Georgia, Clemson, I took the dog. I thought it would be, I don't like Clemson's quarterback, and he didn't look very good. Georgia, their quarterback didn't look very good. I don't care how good the defense is. You should be able to design plays that you can make yards on it. Georgia did miss a short field goal, but overall, I don't like Clemson's quarterback. They have no running. They have very weak offense. In Georgia, their defense is good. Is it that good? I don't know, but they got the win. That's where you tease the dog. When you have the better quarterback, which Georgia had, the defenses were the same, the coaches were the same. That's when you can take the dog. If you have a strong defense, you can take the dog. Georgia wins it straight out. Nevada, Cal, I took Nevada. Cal laying 3.5. Nevada's good team. They're the class of that conference, the Mountain West. They should win it. Good quarterback, obviously a good team. Cal doesn't, they're okay. They're an average team, more of a defensive team, and that's what it was, 22-17 Nevada. LSU, UCLA, I didn't play that. Watching that game, oh, my God. First of all, LSU's the quarterback's terrible. This Brad Johnson's kid is terrible. His mechanics don't look good. He can't read a blitz or know what to do with it. They kept rushing him, and he kept turning around, scrambling, getting the defensive linemen were much faster than him. He threw one pass behind his back. So you wonder if his dad even coached him. It doesn't look like it. He doesn't look good. LSU needs to have Brennan, but Brennan broke his arm, I guess, in the preseason, in either the spring game or just recently. But without Brennan, LSU's offense is not good. And obviously, I was hoping their defense would be better. Their stud looked great. Stingley, he's superstar. Another Patrick Peterson, but again, they just throw away from him and they run away from him, and he's still the fastest player on the field. So it's just one of those things. You just you take out of the game. UCLA is very good. You take out of the game, LSU is going to have trouble against good defenses, a Georgia, a Alabama. Not sure about Auburn at this time. Texas A&M is supposed to have a good defense. So what you take out of that is LSU is just, just garbage. Feel free to enter my chat, but I'm not going to just give picks out. I did give a lot of picks on the video last week. But I'm here to educate, and my service is to sell picks, although I will give a few picks on here. So please feel free to ask questions that you have, being this is live and everything was okay last time. So that's it tonight. LSU, Mississippi, I have no comment on. The coach of Lane Kiffin is out with the virus, which I thought was over with. I didn't know they were still going. So let's go through some of the other games that I just want to comment on. South Florida's a Z. They're a terrible team. North Carolina State, I think, is a very good team. So you can see the result. Ohio State struggled with the new quarterback. Doesn't look that good. They're going to run it down everybody's throat. Minnesota scored a lot on them, but their running backs hurt. Ingram. So be careful with Minnesota. Virginia Tech looks a lot good, strong defense. North Carolina Everybody hypes up their quarterback, and he's not all that. Old Dominion is a Z team, terrible team. Charlotte, good quarterback, and Reynolds beating Duke. Not a surprise. I liked Charlotte in the game. Michigan State, still not a good quarterback, but a good running back. And so with a good running back, you can do a lot of things. Northwestern, pathetic defense. They're going to be probably a W team, which is not quite a Z team, but a Z team can't score and has no defense. They have a hard time scoring. And obviously against a good running team, they didn't know what to do. They didn't put 8 in the box for some reason. I don't know what the coach is thinking. Terrible. Michigan, I don't know. We'll see against Washington, who lost to Montana. Now, that was a look-ahead game. Washington went in. Montana's a really good Division II team. Washington doesn't have a quarterback and good defense. And I'm sure they were looking ahead to Michigan because when you're playing a Montana, you're not focused on it like you will be against Michigan. So we'll get a real true read after this week about Michigan and Washington. It'll be a close game because that's what Michigan does. They don't really blow out anybody except for these weak teams. Washington is not that good. I look for Michigan to win the game. Army's Army. They scored 43 points. Great defense. Georgia State has a good offense. They didn't do anything. Army, again, run the ball, play defense. They looked very strong again. Stanford looks very weak. Kansas State, I don't know. Again, it's a good win. I don't know I want to see them more in conference. Louisiana Monroe, another Z team. Don't get them confused with Louisiana Lafayette. Louisiana Monroe is the Z team. They're a terrible team. Kentucky's okay, but they're not 45-10. Oklahoma, another over team. Good offense, no defense. Tulane lit them up. Tulane, now what this game shows me is Tulane's an over team. You play them, they're going to score a lot. And if they play if they play a Z team or a W team, they're going to kill them. If they play a good team like an SMU, it's an over, and they'll be a very strong dog the rest of the way, Tulane, because you get a lot of confidence playing Oklahoma like this. Had the quarterback ran for another 2 yards, they might have upset them. They were down to the Oklahoma 40 late in the game. Penn State, Wisconsin, as I said, Wisconsin, just a strong defensive team and really very little offense. Penn State's a real deal. To go into Wisconsin and win is extremely difficult against that defense. Look for them to blow out the weaker teams. This week they're like 20 over somebody. They're going to kill them. Rice in Arkansas, I like Rice. Rice is a very good defensive team, and they're pretty strong. They'll be a live dog. Arkansas remains to be seen, although they did pull it out, but they scored real late. Again, week one, it's just these teams haven't played. What happens is you get a lot of scoring at the end because the team gets tired because there's no preseason. And practices aren't what they used to be. So are the teams in shape? Probably not. That'll take about 3 weeks. So you'll see more overs because the defense starts getting tired in the fourth quarter. They're not used to it. Fresno State, Oregon. Fresno State, excellent team. I look for them to be very competitive in the Mountain West, possibly win it. Oregon, I don't think they're all that great. I think they're okay. They're a good team. They're probably a B team, but Fresno State gave them all they want. So Oregon against good teams are going to struggle. San Diego State, New Mexico State. San Diego State has Brady Hoke, the idiot, coaching. Beware of them. New Mexico, to beat New Mexico State 28-10 is pathetic. New Mexico State's a terrible team. They're a Z. Be careful. Utah State, Washington State. Utah State wins. is not an upset. Why? They hired the coach from Arkansas State, and they were very explosive, and the quarterback came with them. So this is basically Arkansas State, not Utah State. Arkansas State scores, and they're a very good team. So Utah State's going to be scoring and very well coached. They spread it out. They score a lot. Excuse me. This is not an upset. Utah State is the better team, and they're better coached. Washington State is not. Washington State is not the Mike Leach Washington State team. They're going to be very average. They're probably either a B or a W. B meaning they score a little bit more than they give up. W is they're kind of weak offensively and weak defensively, but not quite a Z. Here, their defense actually did well to hold Utah State to 26. Now, this is what I'm talking about: new coaching, new coordinators, new quarterbacks. Since they all came from Arkansas State, they're running Arkansas State, but Arkansas State was a very strong offensive team in the last 5 or 6 years. So now you have their coach. Just look out. So, in other words, Utah State's not Utah State, they're Arkansas State. With Arkansas State's coach and quarterback, they're going to throw the ball over. They're going to score a lot. They'll probably give up a lot. So they're an over team. So think of them as Arkansas State. West Virginia, Maryland, tough. What did I get out of this? Not much. West Virginia is not as strong as they've been. Maryland could be decent. Again, it was a good game. Maryland's okay, not great. Indy, Iowa, I talked about. Indy's much better than they looked, and you can't have 2 pick sixes. But again, there's no preseason. I look for Indiana to be on fire their next game. Hopefully, like Nebraska, they played Lehigh. So here Nebraska is blown out by Illinois. They're going to play a good game, and they play Lehigh, and you can't bet it. That's the problem with college. I mean, pros, you're going to play another pro team. Here they play these Division II teams, and it's what the hell is Nebraska playing Lehigh for? So you miss out on that bet of the upset. So Indiana will be on fire, but it's who do they play next? Cincinnati, an A team. Miami of Ohio is not that bad. Cincinnati just crushed. Cincinnati's like Marshall. They're A teams. Bet on them, and especially in conference all day long. Now, if Cincinnati were to play Ohio State, you can't play them. But against any other team, I think they're Conference USA and any other like team, they're the best. They're a top 5 team, I think. Good quarterback, strong defense, good coach. I used to laugh at their coach when he was at Ohio State. He was terrible. Now he looks like a Ohio State coach. So look for Cincinnati to roll. Bet them early and often. Marshall over Navy. Marshall's just like Cincinnati. Very good quarterback. New coach, which worries me. Strong defense. They'll probably win their conference. Another very good team that you don't know about. Keep your eye on Marshall against teams in the conference. Similar type teams in their division. Alabama, Miami. Like I said, Alabama, good. Another strong over team. See, they kill you on when they get inside the 20, they score touchdowns and they get the turnover. They got 2 or 3 turnovers on the on a pick six or a fumble. So that's how they score so much. Their offense puts up 28 points. The defense puts up another 10 to 14, and that's how they get into the 40s all the time. Miami, again, they're just not there. There's no Michael Irvin. There's no, they don't have they're not Miami. You got to understand that. They're a step below. They're probably a solid B team. So I just don't, I'm not crazy about them. I like Derek King, the quarterback. He's good, but they didn't have a chance against Alabama. UMass and Pitt. UMass is a Z team. You bet against them heavy and hard. for Pitt to score 51 on anybody's a joke. They're not that strong of a team. Pitt's an average ACC team, like a North Carolina, like a Virginia Tech. They're right in that group. Central Michigan, Missouri. Central Michigan is better than you think, a good offensive team. They're an over. Played Missouri, who's an SEC team. The score was 14-14. It was pretty competitive. Missouri pulled away late. But Central Michigan is a strong over team. So when they play the teams in conference that are Toledo's, Ohio's, you're going to play those over. But Missouri, they're just an average team. They're either a B. They're probably a B team, but they're not anything special. Tech against Mississippi State. Mississippi State, Mike Leach, they're going to score a lot. Again, no defense. Louisiana Tech, strong. They're not that strong of a team. They can score, as you can see, 35-34. So they're both going to be over teams with good offenses, terrible defenses. Louisiana Lafayette, Texas. I know I called that Louisiana Tech could upset them. Texas, new coach, Sarkisian, they looked pretty good. They're not an A team in any way. They're a B team. Louisiana Lafayette is an A team. And this was a little overpowered against Texas. They'll be very strong in conference. So what happens is you got teams like Louisiana Lafayette, Fresno State, Marshall, Memphis. They're very good against teams in the conference. But when they go and jump up and play an Ohio State, they play USC, an Alabama, they're not going to show up. That's just too much for them. They just have too many athletes. They're too fast for them. So that's why you very rarely see the upset. Now against a Washington or a Michigan, yes, they can upset those teams. If Cincinnati played Michigan, I'd bet Cincinnati, and if they weren't favored, I'd be surprised. So that's the teams they could beat: a Purdue, Illinois, and Indiana, and Iowa. They would be very competitive in those games. It's the Ohio State teams up there that they're going to have problems with. But all the teams have problems with them, right? San Jose State, USC. I love Slolis, the quarterback, Kevin Solis, I believe. Very strong. USA, good offense, good defense. San Jose State is a very good team. They got a quarterback from, I think, Mississippi State, Snarkle. Look for them to be very strong in conference. Them and Fresno State. At this point, they just got, like I just said, overmatched playing a USC team. I thought it'd be a little closer, but I didn't. Those are the games you stay away from. If San Jose State's playing San Diego State or Vegas, you jump all over them. But when they go up to a USC, you can't bet them. It's not the time to bet them. You bet them against the teams in their thing. You can't bet them against teams that are, far superior. But look for San Jose State. What you get out of it is they're a very good team. Losing 30-7 to SC is just overmatched. But against teams their quality, they'll do very well. Oregon State, Purdue. Again, about what I thought. Purdue, I liked them laying 1. I didn't play them because I wanted to see. They held Oregon State to 21, which I thought was pretty good. Oregon State had breaking in a new quarterback. Purdue has the quarterback. I love their coach, but excuse me. This is like the third or fourth coach, and I don't really understand what the coaches do it for. I guess money, but Frost left UCF. They're undefeated. You've had Purdue's coach left, I think it was Western Kentucky, scoring 50 a game. He can't do it in the Big Ten. You got Fleck, who left Western Michigan for Minnesota. They're undefeated. They're great. Why do they move? It doesn't make sense. And then they got to go compete with Ohio State or Clemson or Alabama. It's just stupid moves. I like the guy who went from Arkansas State to Utah State. That makes more sense, but you can't, you come to Purdue, you're going to play Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Penn State, Iowa. Good luck. You're not going to win that much. And you had a good thing at Western Kentucky. I just don't understand it. It's money, obviously, but again, you don't last too long there. Texas Tech, Houston. Texas Tech has the old Utah State coach when Jordan Love was good. So they were putting up 40, 50 points a game. So he went to Texas Tech. Now he's got more of his players. Look for Texas Tech to be a very good over and score a lot. This is a big win over Houston. I think Houston's a little bit better. The game was close. There must have been a few pick sixes near the end or some long runs or something. But so what you get out of this is Texas Tech's very good. They're going to score again. And Houston is just, not quite there yet. Baylor, Texas State. Oh, my God. How bad's Baylor to beat Texas State 29-20? Texas State's okay. Baylor's just not that good. A 14-point favorite, and Texas State played them well. What do I got? Texas State. Do I have? I'm going to go through my A's and Z's in a minute. So be careful of Baylor. Baylor would play Texas Tech. Texas Tech would beat them. Texas would beat them. Oklahoma would beat them. TCU would beat them. Baylor doesn't. They're like at Kansas State's level. Syracuse, Ohio. What did we learn? Syracuse, not as bad as they've been. I like their coach. He was great at Bowling Green. Goes to Syracuse. They're not scoring the way they did. But holding Ohio to 9. Ohio is a very good MAC team. Holding them to 9 is impressive. So look for Syracuse right now to have a good year if the quarterback stays healthy. Scoring 29 on Syracuse. Syracuse Ohio's an A team, so to score 29 and beat them like that, keep an eye on Syracuse. They'll be a live dog. They won't be able to handle Clemson, but the rest of the league, they'll be a live dog in the ACC. Akron, Auburn. Akron, another Z team. Means bet against them. The two Z teams there are them and Bowling Green. Are the Z teams in that conference. Bowling Green, yeah. So what that means is when they play a team with a good offense and just an average B team or an A team, they're going to kill them. Here, Auburn killed them. 37-point favorites. Bo Nix, good game, running good, their defense. So Auburn isn't that good, but Akron is that bad. So you go against Akron. Texas, San Antonio, UTSA against Illinois. I called it. I told you after Illinois played Nebraska, UTSA has really good running backs, puts up a 37-30, not an upset. UTSA is the better team in this situation. So keep your eye on them in conference. UTSA will be a very live dog there. Illinois played Illinois football. They didn't get the breaks they got against Nebraska with a quarterback, fumbled the ball right into the guy's arm for a scoop and score and a pick six. And, so here's Illinois' true colors. They can't handle a strong running team. UTSA just ran all over them. Florida Atlantic. Florida ran the ball. Their quarterbacks are running quarterbacks. So they went from Kyle Trask and Pitts and Tony to I don't know what they're doing. So, again, they're going to the fast-running quarterback who can barely hit the broadside of a barn. George is going to kill him. This is a matchup that I talk about. I talk about matchups. Every game's a matchup. When Florida plays Georgia, you're going to bet the house on Georgia because Georgia stops the run and Florida only can run. They can't pass. And when Georgia takes the lead, Florida's going to be screwed because they can't throw the ball. So Florida shows me okay. Florida Atlantic's not that good. Very surprising score, only to score 35 here. Northern Illinois, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is a Z team. Northern Illinois is a W team, which means they're both weak teams. Northern Illinois got a new quarterback. I think they got the kid from Michigan State, but he didn't do anything. They beat him running the ball versus Georgia Tech. So very, very weak team here. Georgia Tech, they're going to be in trouble in the ACC. Georgia Clemson, I talked about. Again, Georgia. Daniel's okay as a quarterback. He's not Mackenzie Milton. Clemson's quarterback's terrible. Looks terrible. Can't handle a blitz. He doesn't know how to read it. I don't understand these quarterbacks. Have you never seen a blitz before? You're in college. You've never seen a blitz. In practice, they don't blitz. They don't have blitz releases of the running back or the tight end just going out for a quick, where did they come from, and go to that hole. So if the two left linebackers blitz you, the running back should just run to the left or the tight end where they vacated, and it's a 2-second Tom Brady throw. Why do you think Tom Brady's supposed to say? He knows the blitz is coming. He knows where to throw it, and he gets rid of it. So you can't blitz Tom Brady, but these kids in college, they're clueless. They've never watched football in their life. They don't know that, hey, they're blitzing. I can read the blitz and throw it real quick to the tight end or a receiver or a back in the area vacated. This Clemson kid doesn't understand it. He reminds me of Josh Allen in the fact he can't read a blitz, and apparently Trevor Lawrence can't read a blitz either. South Alabama, Southern Miss. Wow. South Alabama killed them. They're the weaker team here. They're actually, I have them as an under team, so they got a very good defense. They got the quarterback from South Carolina, Bentley, and they put up some numbers on Southern Miss. So we're going to be watching South Alabama, and then Southern Miss we're just going to laugh at. I mean, they're obviously a terrible team. And in that conference, there's a lot of Z teams, so we'll keep an eye on them. A&M 41, Kent State 10. Kent State is not a bad team. They're a good over. A&M has an exceptional defense this year. I'm not sure about their offense. Again, in this type of game, the defense scores. They ran a lot. A&M is not an A team. They don't have that A quarterback, but they have a very strong defense. So when you play A&M, when you play them against the Georgia, they're going to be an under team. LSU, UCLA, as I talked, LSU's quarterback's terrible. He couldn't handle a blitz. He's throwing passes behind his back. What kind of crap is that? And just because he's Brad Johnson's kid, he reminds me of Phil Simms' kid. Phil Simms wasn't a very good quarterback to start with. The Giants won because of Lawrence Taylor, and they ran the ball. They didn't win because of Phil Simms. And the same thing here. Brad Johnson's nothing. He's a journeyman. He was decent at Minnesota. I guess he won a Super Bowl on defense for Tampa Bay because of the defense. He looked terrible. He had no motion. He wasn't smooth. He didn't go back and fire. He was all over the place, and he kept throwing to number one. And number one would break all the tackles. LSU's receiver, Bichette, I think. And that's where he got all his yards. So it reads 330 yards, but it was all from the 10-yard pass, and the wide receiver took it to the distance. Great wide receivers at LSU, as always. I'm worried about their defense. They couldn't stop UCLA. UCLA looked really strong after the first 6 or 7 minutes of 3 and out the first 3 times. Then they started to go. Again, LSU's got the best Stingley, best cornerback in the country, All-American, but they just threw to the other side, and you can't cover both sides. UCLA is the real deal. They'll give USC all they want. Them and USC and Arizona State to win that conference, but they'll be a very strong play. You know, first they beat Hawaii 44-10. You go, that's Hawaii. Hawaii is a Z team. Now they beat a good LSU team, and their defense, LSU's. Apparently they can't stop the run, so good luck for them. This is not a team. They need Joe Burrows. They need all that stuff they don't have. BYU beats Arizona 24-16. BYU is very weak this year. Arizona is terrible. Arizona is a Z team. BYU missing their quarterback. Obviously, they're going to be a low-scoring team. They usually play decent defense. Arizona's terrible. Z team, bet against them. Not much there. Nevada, as I talked about, beating Cal. Nevada, very strong, good quarterback, good offense. Cal's not much. They're an E team, even team. They'll score in the 20s, give up in the 20s. Not a great defense like they had a few years ago. Not a great offense. Chase Garbers is garbage, really. He's not a good quarterback. Other thoughts, why didn't Florida State play Mackenzie Milton? I can't believe the kid who beat him out is bullshit. He did not beat him out. Mackenzie Milton brings a lot of intangibles. He's a winner. You need to play him. The kid who came in couldn't handle a blitz, and I don't know why they didn't start Mackenzie Milton or get him in the game. Just blows my mind. There's no way this kid's better than Mackenzie Milton. So I know I saw him, and I bet and won a lot of money on him. So that's my take on it. Let me quickly go through. Now, the Z teams are the terrible teams, the teams we're going to bet against. I got about 20 of them. So I'm going to go through them slowly, but not too slow. UConn, Louisiana Monroe, Stanford, Temple, UMass, Akron, Georgia Tech, Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt got killed by a Division II team. Washington, I'm not sure. They lose to Montana. We'll see against Michigan. Southern Miss, LSU, not probably a Z team, but I can't see where we're going to bet them with that quarterback. If they change to Miles Brennan, then they become an A team. Well, it'll be an over team. Arizona, Washington State, Old Dominion's terrible. Kansas is terrible. Northwestern, I got to think, is terrible. Colorado State lost to a Division II. Maybe they're not that terrible, but we'll see. Tulsa, South Florida's horrible. Bowling Green's horrible. New Mexico, Vegas, UConn. Well, I got UConn twice. So they're double Z. Hawaii and New Mexico State. So New Mexico plays New Mexico State this week. It's like garbage against garbage. The teams you want to play, the teams that are very strong dogs, strong teams. Florida State, the Army, Penn State, Tulane, Fresno State, Alabama, Cincinnati, Marshall, Central Michigan, Louisiana Lafayette, USC, Liberty, Texas State, Arkansas State, Toledo, Texas Tech, UTSA, Texas San Antonio, Georgia, Texas A&M, South Alabama, UCLA, Nevada, Utah State, Charlotte, Coastal Carolina, great quarterback, of course, Coastal Carolina, Buffalo, North Carolina State, and Arizona State. So what you do is if you got team playing Old Dominion, who's a good team, they're going to kill them. That's why when you see a 30-point spread against the UConn, Massachusetts, Old Dominion, Kansas, South Florida, Bowling Green, New Mexico, Vegas, New Mexico State, you lay the 35, 37 points because these teams suck and they're just going to get blown out. Pardon my cold. So that's what I take out of week one and my reading of my guide and my looking. Now I'm looking at quarterbacks, running backs, defense. So the kid at Michigan State, big running. So if they have good runners and they have a good defense, then they're going to be overs. If they have a good quarterback, but their defense isn't that good, they're great overs. If they have a good defense, if they have a good quarterback and they have a good defense, those are A teams, like a Cincinnati and a Marshall. So in conference, they're very strong. So what you look for, that's what you look for. So now you look at the matchups. So I had a quick look at week two. So I go 8-2 in the first week, although I had Indiana as a lock, which with Penix back, I'm a little stunned that they didn't score more. But, 34-6, it happens. Was it a good play? Yes. Penix is good. Indiana is a very good team. Iowa's not that strong. They'll probably lose to Iowa State this week. But that's what you look for. So was it a good play? Yes. Should I have locked it? No. I should have went with either the Wisconsin under or Marshall as my lock. Okay, but I had reasons not to lock them. It was a wait and see. Now that I've seen, if I get the same numbers, then you'll see a lock. One game I love right off the bat. This line makes no sense to me. Nebraska's laying. I had it laying 10. They're laying 12 to Buffalo. Buffalo is going to win the game straight out. Okay, they've got strong running, good quarterback, and very strong defense. If Nebraska couldn't handle Illinois and Martinez couldn't handle the Illinois rush, wait till he gets a load of Buffalo. This is what I'm talking about when the team goes up in conference. So Buffalo is a MAC playing a Big Ten team. This is a team that can play with the Big Ten team, and they got something to prove. It's a big win if they beat Nebraska. Buffalo, no problem playing on the road, no problem running the ball, no problem on defense. This is a joke. This is a bad line. Buffalo wins it straight out. I'm locking this game. I don't see how Nebraska can win the game. And I'm getting 12, and we all know what that means. We tease it to 18. That spread, see, that's what I look for, right? You got to be kidding. I mean, you've just got to be kidding that Buffalo's getting 12 from a team like Nebraska. Now, if they were playing Ohio State and they were getting 12, I wouldn't, I'd maybe still bet Buffalo, but it'd be close. I think they can handle Penn State. I think they can play with Wisconsin, and they can definitely play with Michigan and Iowa. I mean, they'd be a number 2 or number 3 Big Ten team. They dominate the MAC. You've got to be kidding with this line. Seriously, this is absolutely ridiculous. A good game next week's Ohio State, Oregon. Now that the quarterback's got a game under him, this game could get ugly. Probably a good over because Ohio State's just going to score 50 points anyway. Now here's a game, BC 37 over Mass is what I'm talking about with the Z team, right? Mass is terrible. They're a Z team. BC, how good is BC? Well, they have the Notre Dame quarterback. They score a lot of points. Probably a good play. You can get it under 40. And this is why I put my plays out today because I see this, like Nebraska's laying 12. I see the spread. I just got to check injuries as long as nobody died on Buffalo. I want to get it in, although I don't think the line started at 10, went to 12, so I'm really not worried about this. But this is why I bet the games early is because I got the spread I like. Last week I took Florida State was 9 on the shoot. I teased them up to 15, and then the spread went down to 7. So I had the spread I wanted. I knew it was going to go down because it's Notre Dame. And eventually the spread went to 7, and I had it at 9. I had it at 5. I had the number I wanted. Most of the time the number goes with me. Once in like the Marshall went down at 2.5. Army's under went from 53 to 49. I had that pegged. The only game that really went down was Alabama-Miami. Was a 64-65, went down to 63 or 62, which gave me the W because they scored 57, and I think the over-under and the teaser was 55, so that was 61-62. So that's why I tend to bet them early. So when you buy from me, if you're waiting until Friday, which is fine, it's payday, I get it, but next week's pros are already posted. I'm studying college now, and I'll put it out there. But if I see a line I like and a game I like, it's just really now check the injuries. And once I know the injuries are fine, then it's boom. But Buffalo, should win the game outright. Let's see. You got Liberty and Troy. Liberty's a very strong team. They got Hugh Freeze coaching it. It's all the coach. Excuse me. One of these summer colds, I guess. So you look at your Z teams, UMass, Bowling Green, Akron, if I can find them. New Mexico plays New Mexico State. That spread seems way high. New Mexico 18 over New Mexico State seems extremely high. We'll see what happens with that. Notre Dame 18 over Toledo. Good luck. Notre Dame is it's going to be a rough game. Toledo is not that bad. Here you go. Purdue 33 over Connecticut. Connecticut's a Z team. 11 guys at the sportsbook and Caesars could beat Connecticut. So, there you go. Another Z team. Penn State laying 22 to Ball State. Penn State should kill them. That's the big win against Wisconsin. So what you look for is Wisconsin, North Carolina, teams like that lost should come back. Here's Wisconsin 24 to Eastern. I don't know if they can cover that. Eastern's not that bad, but I think they will. They're going to be mad about the loss. And Eastern's defense isn't that strong. Texas plays Arkansas, should be a pretty good game. Kentucky, Missouri, Michigan's only 5. Michigan's 7 over Washington's only 5.5. I don't know. Washington's had no offense against Montana. Like, really? Michigan, I can't. I got to see them play a few games before I have any faith in them. Scoring on Western. See, this is where you have to be careful. Week 1 against a weak team, Michigan, who sucked last year, is going to be really pissed off. Every few years, Notre Dame has a bad year. They come back pissed off. Michigan had a terrible year. They were pissed off. I look for Michigan to give a real strong effort against Washington, but I don't know what that is anymore. Harbaugh's, not the coach he was at Frisco. So I don't know, but this should be a Michigan win because Washington losing to Montana, and they don't have a good quarterback, Washington. Arizona favored against San Diego State, I don't see. Utah, BYU, okay. Arizona State, 33 over Vegas. There you go. Arizona State, 18. Vegas, terrible. Arizona State's got the defense to shut out Vegas. Vegas will not score. The question is, how strong is Arizona State offense? Oregon State over Hawaii. Hawaii, another Z team. So what you go is you look at the Z teams and you look at the good teams like I've showed you, and you're just looking for a bad line like the Buffalo line. So that's what you're looking for. You look at the game, you almost look at the game without a point spread. You go Buffalo, Nebraska, and you go, what did I say? Nebraska, I figured favored by 7. They're at home. And they're laying 12. And I don't understand that. And Nebraska's a popular team, so the spread's even higher. Like Notre Dame and Michigan, their spreads are too high because they know everybody's going to bet them, so they make the line higher. In this case, I think that spread's way too high, and I can see Buffalo winning the game. So if you looked at the game without a line, pick a winner, I'm not sure you'd take Nebraska to win the game even. It's at Nebraska. It doesn't mean anything for Buffalo. They're very good on the road because they run and they play defense. So I look for this to be a extremely competitive game, and the spread's way out of whack. So that's what you're looking for, are games like that. Overs and unders that don't make sense. A low over under on a higher scoring teams. How do you tell high scoring? You look at the quarterbacks. A strong quarterback or a strong, like Alabama, strong offense. Those are your over teams, right? They can score. The teams with the strong defenses are under teams, right? Because they might not have a good quarter. They might not be able. They run the ball and play defense. Wisconsin, they're an under team. UCLA, that's an over team. LSU maybe is an over team. Georgia's an under team, right? Strong running, good defense. So that's what you got to evaluate is the teams. That's why I'm here. And then you go from there. So anyway, this is the week 1 analysis. I'll do a week 2 video and a pro video. My pro games are already on the site. I have I'm going to have 2 locks, and I've already put 3 or 4 picks out. And I'll be putting out more, especially these college. And then I'm waiting to hear who the starting quarterbacks are on like Houston and Denver and Chicago. If Chicago starts Fields, I might lock LA because Fields is not playing Purdue. So good luck against Aaron Donald. All right, everybody. This is week 1, 8-2, and looking forward to week 2. Again, the pros are already posted. I'm going to post more. I just gave you the Buffalo game over Nebraska, lock city, and I have 2 others that I'm going to lock with it. Okay, everybody. Again, www.teaserking.com. I'm betting the Thursday game, and then I'll have with college. They got only a few. They got 2 Friday games and the rest Saturday. And we'll go with that. So anyway, have a great Labor Day and good luck to you. I hope you make a lot of money and then go buy gold with the money you make because we're all going to need it. All right. Have a great holiday. www.teaserking.com.